Alright, insert intro. We're starting off with Joyous Melffy, and I'm gonna put this in best. Loops Calentosa works in basically every variant of Melffy. There's like Splice Melffy, Trepidate Melffy, Pure Melffy, Trap Melffy. Any version of it, it's going to pull the whole deck together. It's like the glue that holds the entire deck. Now we have Melffy Tag, and this is okay. Actually, I could put this in bad. On the surface, it seems good. It's like a monster reborn for Melffys, but then you just realize that you really are never going to need this. You have cards like Pony. Like I don't even think Pony's that good, but you'd still rather use Pony than Melffy Tag because Melffy still summon themselves during the end phase, and that's not even that very often. You mostly just summon them during the end phase if you don't really have any other choice. Summoning them from the graveyard isn't going to be much better. Instead of searching this off of Melffy of the Forest, you'd rather just not play this at all. Or you'd rather just play like hide and seek. It doesn't summon them, it instead shuffles them, but you'd rather shuffle Melffys from the graveyard and get a +1 than actually summon it from the graveyard. And it's not that hard to just search a Melffy off Catty and summon it during the end phase. It's not difficult at all. But it's not completely unplayable. That's why it's not down here. It is good in some stuff like combos, some variants. I know Tri-Brigade Melffy used to use this, not as much, but yeah, sometimes they do. Depends on the combo line, but it's mostly for gimmicky traps. Now we have Melffy Fenny. It's okay. It can summon Calentosa from hand if you brick on it, but apart from that, there's really not much you can do with Fenny besides it being an extra name, but you don't really need extra names all that much anyway. But it's not bad or unplayable, it's just not very necessary, in my opinion. Now we have Melffy Catty. Melffy Catty is a backbone of the deck. It essentially adds a Melffy when the opponent summons a monster, and this goes a very, very long way. You can add something like a Hopier Squadron or a Melffy Penny to make a synchro. You can add just follow up. You can add Tri Brigade Suras. You can add a whole bunch of stuff that can get your steam going, or you can make a disruption. There's a lot of stuff you can do with this. It's extremely flexible. Sometimes even just adding a name can be helpful. There's a lot of different things you can do with Melffy Catty. Although a lot of the time, it is going to be useless after a few turns of searching in the grind, and that's part of a flaw with it. But I would say it's good enough to be in maybe low grade. Ooh, Melffy Hide and Seek. I would say it's a solid good. There's some cool tech stuff you can do with this, and Torrential Tribute. I know Uncommon Charity is also protects your board from Dark Hole. That's an extremely common side card you'll be seeing there. Um, this is mostly just like an alternate alt format type of card, but in like the main TCG, it is definitely helpful, especially with the Shuffle 3 and Draw 1. But if I'm being honest, it's just not as important as the other cards. But it's still pretty solid though. It's still pretty good. Alright, Pony. Everyone's gonna hate me for this ranking, but this is like one of, if not the worst Melffy main deck monster, period. I would say it's even worse than Fenny, which that's already a huge achievement. That's already a big deal, I mean. Somehow being worse than Melffy Fenny. As for uses for this card, it can add back Copier Squadron, I guess. It can also add back Melffy Penny, which this definitely helps during the grind, but that's about it. Other than that, it's just kind of useless, and this is also considering the fact that Melffy Catty alone, plus Hide and Seek, is basically just a better Pony. And even if you don't have Hide and Seek, you'd rather have Melffy Catty than Melffy Pony. And if you have both, then Melffy Pony pretty much contributes absolutely nothing, because Melffy Catty just does what it does, but better. Fight me on this one too. This is another hot take. I just never liked Melffy Pony. I would put it in unplayable slash garbage, but I know a lot of people find this card useful, so I'm just gonna put it in okay instead. Actually, I'm gonna put this down here in bad instead. It's just not good enough to be next to Fenny, in my opinion. Alright, Melffy Playhouse, unplayable, and it's garbage. This was used earlier in Trap Melffy. Now it's just not good. You never want to use this. If you're using this, you're actually brain dead and fatherless, and both of your parents don't love you. I'm literally not gonna say anything else, because what else is there to say? This card is absolutely garbage. It wastes your resources for a basic disruption you can get off of any other card, and you gain no advantage off of this, and you lose more than you actually gain. I just hate this card, and you should not be using it in any one of your lists. Right, Melffy Staring Contest. It's a pretty cool card. There's a lot it can do. It's mostly just putting back a brick, like Calantosa, for example, and you get to add a Melffy off of it. Usually it's going to be a Wallaby. It's definitely a card. There's a lot you can do with it. It helps on brick hands. It's very useful going first, sometimes even going second. The attack raise can be helpful too, on top of Ronin, Raccoon, and Access Code, for example. It really depends on your hand. At worst, it's like okay. At best, it's pretty cool. Wallaby. Great. I mean, do I even need to explain this? This does so much. Most of the time, we're just going to be summoning Melffy Catty and Melffy Puppy off of this. It just does so much. You, like, at the very least, you get a Calantosa and a Hoppier Squadron, which becomes a Airy Melffy, which bounces one. At worst, by the way. At best, this can, like, enable some insane combos with Flirterlies, Satellite Warrior. It just does so much for the deck, and especially for the chat variants, for example. It's very grindy, it helps a lot. In combo decks like Melffy Sply or Melffy Tri-Brigade, it's probably the best thing you can possibly do. I mean, the best deck you can probably use this in would be Melffy Tri-Brigade. It's just that good, and it's helped Melffy Tri-Brigade evolve past the point of just needing Obedience School. Melffy Wallaby really helps a lot. It's really good because of Tag especially, but it's not good enough to push Tag a tier above, and same thing the other way around. Right now we have Melffy Puppy. This is going to be an extremely hot take, but Melffy Puppy over Melffy Wallaby. Now hear me out for a sec. Melffy Wallaby, a really big reason why it's as good as it is because of Melffy Puppy. And a big reason why Joyous Melffy is really good is because of Melffy Puppy too. This is the backbone of the deck. It just does everything for you. You can get access to Calantosa, Catty, basically whatever you want. And before you say, well, Melffy Wallaby can do that too, well, guess why Melffy Wallaby is good? Because it can summon Puppy. If Puppy didn't exist, it would be kind of mid, right? It's a huge reason why Melffy is even good in the first place. Even without Wallaby, Melffy was still doing relatively well for a rogue deck. Yeah, Melffy Wallaby, it's a big influence for Melffy, but so is Melffy Puppy. I would say they're on par with each other if Melffy Wallaby is still higher than in your book, but in my book, Melffy Puppy is higher. I think Melffy Puppy is definitely one of the best Melffys out there. Right now we have Melffy Mommy. It's unplayable and it's also garbage. Back in the release of Melffy Mommy, it was playable to an extent. I remember Time Thief Melffy was a thing. You could just play Tower Mommy with other background. It was good with the Paleozoics, but now you have absolutely no reason to be using this at all in any list. It's not even a good OTKer either because of Ronin existing. Ronin is just much better at actually OTKing. Melffys, they don't need to wall up or tower anything to win. Their whole win con is just setting up a bunch of good synchros and Xyz using the rank 2 pool. It's not even that hard to accomplish either. It's just Melffy Mommy, you have no reason to actually go into this. You just should never be using this. We have Merry Melffy. I'd say it's somewhere between cool and great. I'm gonna put it like high cool. It's just a bounce. It's a level 4 synchro. You can make this very, very often. Most lists will play 1 or 2. You usually only need 1. Even if it's destroyed, you can just recycle it with hide and seek. Or if you're playing Melffy Tag, you can summon that too from the graveyard if you really want to. Not bad at all. It's pretty helpful. It's just not very necessary, I guess. I mean, I would rather go into this than Herald any day of the week if I'm being honest. I consider this necessary to an extent, but not necessary in the sense that the deck is unplayable without it, like other cards, enough to be low on the list, but it's good enough to be decently high. That's really nothing else to say about this, kind of like how most of the cards here are. Melffy kind of just ranges between either garbage or it's good, and this is one of the few instances where it's kind of in between. Now we have Melffy Rabby. It's completely unplayable. This was kind of playable in the Rescue Rabbit variant from a while back. That variant wasn't even good at all. Literally no reason to play this. Like everything else here, you have no reason to. There's just no reason at all. Don't play this. It's bad. It's really garbage. Unless you're one of those common charity people that just want to use it just because you're bored. Even then, just why? Why would you ever want to use this? Thank you for listening to my rant. I know it was pretty long and it was pretty unnecessary, but it was fun for me. No, it wasn't. I still wanted to do this anyway because I want my opinion out there because I'm very petty and I hate all of you.